Warning, the following video might contain some elements that might not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Kingdom Hearts was a very popular game in my high school years. Most of my friends loved it to death, and went on and on about how awesome it was. A friend of mine let me borrow his PlayStation 2. I was more of a Nintendo kid growing up, so I didn't own other systems besides the Game Boy Advance, SP, and GameCube. It let me borrow his copies of the first and second Kingdom Hearts. After I finished and returned the games and the system, I could not get enough of the franchise. The other games didn't interest me much, so I decided to skip them. A couple years later, the 3DS came out, and being a Nintendo child I couldn't help but to buy the system. After I bought the system and beat a couple of games, Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance was coming out. I was out of luck. The only GameStop that was available to me was completely sold out the game, and didn't plan on getting any copies anytime soon. Bomb out. I decided to ask my friends from high school to see if anyone had it. If they did, they would be nice enough to let me borrow it. Once again, my luck ran out, and nobody had it. Since I was out of luck, I decided to check eBay, but thought all those stories on haunted games and stuff like that. Just wait and see what the future had to hold, I told myself. A couple of weeks went by, and I went to see if GameStop had Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. To my surprise, they still didn't have a copy. I thought that was complete BS, but I wasn't about to mess with a clerk's day by yelling at him about a video game. This morning, I walked home. On my way back home, I saw across a 3DS cartridge with no label in the middle of the street. Wow, I thought to myself. I looked both ways of the street, so when I crossed, I wouldn't get ran over. I picked the cartridge up. Couldn't get the game I wanted. I guess I'll play you. I stuffed the cartridge in my pocket and walked home. Once I had gotten home, I sat on my couch. I put the cartridge into my 3DS and my jaw dropped, and a giant smile came across my face. Holy carp, this is too good to be true. Then I thought about it for a little bit. Why was this, of all games, be on the middle of the street? Why was this not in GameStop? Maybe I shouldn't play this. I mean, like those stories on the internet about someone dying over some game. It's just a game, right? What could it possibly do to me? Sadly, as human beings, we tend to get curious. I entered the game into my 3DS, not aware of what could happen next. I decided to press play. The 3DS opening came up, and a cutscene of Mickey doing Fantasia magic and the Disney sound came up. I decided to skip the cutscene and go on my merry way. The start menu came out with a sleeping Sora flying down with a worried Mickey trying to grab his hand. Riku wasn't even there. That's funny, I thought Riku was in this. I decided to ignore it, and I decided to press play and start on normal mode. When the game started, I felt a little lightheaded. This I didn't understand. I put the game down and checked to see if the 3D bar was on. It was only a little, but not enough to give me a headache like I was playing 3D full blast for an hour. I told myself to just set the 3D bar off. Doing so, I noticed the headache go away. Whatever. Could just be me. I started to play. The game started with me as Sora in a tutorial in the simple fight with Ursula. Once I defeated her, I had to dive, whatever that was. And there were some things that set me off a little, like when I ran into something Sora looked as if he were in a lot of pain, like he would in real life. I told myself I get this supposed to be realistic and they're making this a step up. Personally, I thought it was really messed up. Once I had gotten through that dive, my head began pounding really hard. Frick, I whispered to myself. The hell was happening to me? I hope it is no mere coincidence. After getting over the headache, I found I was in Trevor's Town. I took a tutorial about some kind of free running activity, which was pretty fun. After the tutorial, Sora was standing up, eyes closed. He then woke surprised he was in Trevor's Town. No! He yelled. No? Why no? What's going on? I gotta get out of here. Right now! The camera zoomed to Sora's face, ending the cutscene. Once again, I found this a little dumb. Why would Square Enix make a happy-go-lucky character into suck a baby? Why is he freaking out like that? If I knew anything over Kingdom Hearts 1, nothing bad had happened to him in Trevor's Town. Maybe there was something in the game I skipped? Cares as hell. I continued my adventure. I was getting a little bit tired, so I found a checkpoint and saved. Then headed to bed. I got ready and raced to bed like you would when you were a little kid afraid of monsters. Honestly, I wasn't really scared of monsters, but the racing to the bed part stuck to me. I guess some habits stick well, huh? Well, as I feel asleep, I dream I was in Trevor's Town. No control of my body whatsoever. I raced along Sora, My body turned and said what was chasing us. It was this big dog type of thing. It was missing an eye, and I had a spine-chilling grin on it. This made me scared, a bit scared. I mean, who wouldn't be? As we ran from this hell beast and what felt like a never-ending haul, Sora had tripped. My body turned and I saw the hell beast flip Sora into the air. Sora reached for me, but I couldn't really stop running. Horror filled everything in me as I heard Sora yell bloody murder. Tears reached my eyes as I knew it was me next. I woke up with the biggest headache ever. I was trembling for what had happened. This can't wait, I told myself. I need to know. I got out of bed. It was around 3:30. Turned my 3DS on and opened my save file. I had to skip over the tutorial as I felt it wasn't needed. I entered to battle these things called Dream Eaters. My eyes had opened wide as these Dream Eaters were visually horrifying. This bat, if I can even call it that, had one wing ripped open and were soaked red. This has to be fake, I thought to myself. This is a kid's game, for crying out loud. Square Enix wouldn't allow this. Another dreamer was a panda-looking animal who, from even the slightest look, could make you pass out. Just let your imagination take over, for I really do not want to describe this demon. When Sora took damage, he made the face like he did when I was diving and ran into something. Instead of hearts coming out like they did in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, they suddenly vanished. Wait, nobody's didn't release hearts, only Heartless. I remember in the trailer explaining something about the dreamers were only after dreams, so I bypassed that. The game then forced me into the pause screen and made me make my own Dream Eater. The game gave me materials and I made a Dream Eater. I froze in shock. My mind couldn't grasp the horror when I said what the Dream Eater was. That thing from my damn dream! Why is this thing in here? It was then when I understood what Sora was scared about. A programmer must have messed the whole game, causing Sora to say something he wouldn't. His character wasn't like what he said at all. Something unlucky must have gone through the same thing as I was. Maybe he or she cracked under what had happened and got rid of the game. Maybe if they did a better job, this wouldn't have happened to me. My brain came back from its deep thinking to find the monster staring at me, still on the screen. I ejected the cartridge from my 3DS and turned the system off. I clenched the cartridge tight in my hand. I look at the time. 5? How the hell? I put on my dress clothes and I was personally gonna get rid of it for good. I walked out of my house, locked the door, and went out to an area where no one was around so I could smash this cursed thing. The only place I knew was abandoned was a parking lot, so I took a half an hour walk to pay the place a visit. Once I was there, I dropped the game to the floor. Nobody deserved that kind of hellish nightmare. Never a video game character. I smashed the game, overjoyed. I kept stomping on it repeatedly with a satisfying look of approval when I found the game, into what seemed like 100 pieces. I then walked home. When I unlocked the door, this instant migraine that was 10 times worse than the first. My head hurt too much to try to open the door, and I was panicking. I had no idea why, but I was scared of something. I woke up in a hospital bed, asked what had happened and why am I here. Your neighbor said you passed out and called 911. You're not mentally fit right now, so I'll give you some pills and so you get back on track, he said. Something in his voice made me think he was hiding something. So that was Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Nightmare. And my thoughts on it, well, the story is kind of generic, but at least it tries something interesting, despite it has like several cliches, protagonist ran out of luck on trying to get that new game that his friends is getting, already have, and the serious cartridge is in the middle of the street, even for that showing one red flag of cliche gaming creepypasta. And another thing, possibly something about just the protagonist get rid of the cartridge of the game. That's kind of another cliche. But that ending is kind of pretty mysterious. Who could this guy be? Could it be Riku from the who went missing, who's absent in the title screen of the game that the protagonist plays? And also something about a one-winged bat with something blood-soaked. It's kind of a little bit eerily creepy. And also the scene is about the some hellhound that the protagonist is kind of freaking out about. Is kind of a little bit uniquely cool. It's always been typical cliche, some demonic entities kind of controlling the game or possessing the game. And don't have anything else to say, but overall, this creepypasta is pretty generic, but it's kind of good. So, anywho, just hope you guys enjoyed this video, and happy Thanksgiving as always. So, like and comment this video, and subscribe for more content. So, this is Mr. Freddy here, and see ya.